Hey guys, it's Flippin' Genius Finds, and today I'm going to show you the items that sold for $45 and above. There are a couple of items that may have sold for less, but it's going to be $45 and above for the month of June. So let's hop on to it. Now this is a Seiko Christmas musical Melodies in Motion wall clock with a Santa sleigh. This took about 3 months to sell, and it did sell for $110.49 plus shipping. Now I have several of these clocks. Some of them are listed, some of them are not. Some of them are very intricate in motions and time. This is like a kind of like not too fancy, I would say, or not. It doesn't have too much of motion. This is the Rockford Fosgate MO65 marine grade 6.5 inches coaxial full range speakers, white. They're a pair, and it took about a month to sell. It sold for $69.99 plus shipping. They are just speakers for your boat. Now this is a Texas Instrument TI 84 Plus graphing calculator with cover black, tested, and it works. This was listed for $49.99 and it sold for $45. It sold the very next day. This is the vintage mid-century modern George Briard signed yellow Icicles glasses. I had two available and they both sold to the same buyer for $49.98. It took about a year, close to a year to sell. You can see right here, it is signed George Briard. This is a vintage black enamel yellow iris photo frame, 3.5 by 4.75 inch oval opening. And it took about 3 months to sell. It sold for $44.99. You can see there is some damage. It's not damage, but there is some gunk or like abrasion. This is the hand-blown Jellyfish Octopus glass pedestal dish, glass line, green, white, 6.5 inches tall. This took about 10 months to sell. It sold for $59.95 plus shipping. Now, if you want to know how I ship this item, how I package the item, I have another video that I'll link up top or in the description below. I believe this is made in Poland. This is the Royal Worcester ZODIAC Pewter collector plate, 1,597 out of 7,500. LeRoy Neiman design. This took about a year and 2 months to sell, and I took an offer on it for $44.50. This is a Disney Polynesian Village Resort light up figurine Tiki Totem statue figure. It's basically like a night lamp. It sold for $79.99. It took about 6 months to sell. This is a vintage mid-century modern Iittala Tapio Finland bubble stem set of 2 glass Olut goblet 6.5 inches tall. It sold for $85 plus shipping, and it took about 3 months to sell. As you can see, one still has a sticker. It comes with the original box. You can see it does have some bubble on the bottom. And they're like beer glasses, Pilsner glasses. This is a TaylorMade R7 Superquad driver, 9.5 degrees, Fujikura stiff Arnies Army cover. Read the description. This club took about 2 months to sell, and it was on a 15% discount. It sold for $101.99. You can see on the bottom it does have some scratches. Here's the Arnies, Arnold Palmer, the head cover. And you can see it's very dirty. There's some tear right here on the back. You know, this head cover came with the club, and I just threw it in there as like a bonus. I sold it as is. This is the vintage style built, gold gilt, oval hearts and cherub vanity mirror tray. This took about 2 years to sell, and it sold for $109 plus shipping. You can see that there is the mark right here, made in USA, style built. Here's the heart with the cupid or cherubs. This was a 13-inch oval tray. This is Andrea by Seiko. Porcelain monkey playing the flute, 12.5 inches tall. There is a small paint chip on the flute. This took about 1.5 years to sell. I did take an offer on it for $100 plus shipping. And you can see the slight paint chipping right here on the flute. I believe I got a positive feedback on this one. This is the Fantasy Orchid Paperweight, Caithness, Scotland. Collector's Paperweight, 1993. It did have very shallow scratch marks on the bottom only, not the top or the sides. It was in very good condition, excellent condition, I would say. Put a little bit of green light so you can see like the markings on the bottom. And it is a very beautiful paperweight. It took about 1 year and 8 months to sell. I took an offer on it for $90 plus shipping. I did receive a positive feedback on this one. This is a John Barber art glass vessel, pooled feather iridescent, yellow amber signed, 1998. And this sold for $199.99, but it did take about 1 year and 3 months to sell. Typically, the pulled feather is like these techniques right here. You can see this, they pull it. And to me, this does not look very symmetrical. It is very like abstract kind of a vessel or pot. You can see right here, John Barber, 98 is signed on the bottom. There are some bubble inclusions, a 9x10 approximately. This is a Star Trek The Next Generation complete series, season 1 through 7. This took about 3 weeks to sell, and it sold for $49.99 plus shipping. It's not completely sealed. It has like a part of it sealed and part of it's opened, but it does come in the box. You can see right here, this right here is still sealed, and these sections right here are open. There is like a scratch mark right here on this disc, but overall the DVDs were very clean. This is the Reborn Baby Dolls Sleeping Realistic Lifelike Silicone Vinyl Cotton Body Gift. This sold for $47.05 plus shipping, and it took about 1 year and 8 months to sell. You can see the girl looks very lifelike. They call these dolls like the very lifelike dolls. They call it Reborn, and some of them, if you have like a certain artist signature or a certain artist, they can go for huge money, but they're usually going to be one of a kind. They do their own painting. They on the models, and yeah, some of those can go for thousands of dollars. But again, this one's just like a mass-produced one. You can see it's very soft and looks very lifelike. So I would say this is an open box. Most likely never touched, never used. About 18 inches tall. Now this is the vintage Minton teacup and saucer, RN 566884, Famille Rose, Chinoiserie, 2¼ inches tall. This sold for $79.99, and it did take about 3 years and 6 months to sell. There are ways to date this. I believe this was an antique by the markings or date stamp. Now this is the Royal Baubles, the Walking Dead AMC Negan bobblehead. This sold for $55.99. It did take about 8 months to sell. Now this was in sealed condition. Someone previously asked me to open it to see if it was broken inside, and for some reason or other the other person did not buy it. So I opened it up for no reason, and then later, about 2-3 months down the line, another buyer bought it. Again, now instead of it being a sealed or new item, it's an open box item, right? Because I opened it up to see if it was broken or not. I don't know if that's the case with many of these bobbleheads or not, where they come broken for some reason. This is the vintage Jazz Jellies 207 point and shoot panoramic 35mm Kodak film camera, blue. And I put reed because the film probably is expired. Actually, the film is expired, but that's typical with these vintage items. It took about 8 months to sell, and it sold for $69.99 plus shipping. Yeah, you can see right here, developed before 2003, 12/01. So the film did expire. Next, we have the beautiful 1909 Butte, Montana calendar plate, Lute's Tea and Coffee Victorian Girl. I took an offer on it for $60 plus shipping, and it did take about 3 months to sell. You can see it's a calendar plate. It's an antique. There's some like not chipping but paint peel a little bit over here. Actually, I don't think it's even a paint peel. I think it's like a decoupage or something like that. Not decoupage, but when they put the trace on it, probably it did not form. They did not align correctly. There is some crazing right here. Compliments of Lute's Tea and Coffee Department. It's about a 9.25-inch plate. Weighs about a pound. I believe I got a positive feedback on it. This is the Ping Doc 15B mallet putter, right-handed 42-inch steel shaft. I took an offer on it for $55, and it did take about 8 months to sell. You can see right here on the bottom, it's been used, well used. Now, typically I ship my golf clubs in a 4x4 by 48 tall box that's cut down to size, but this didn't fit into 4x4, so this has to be shipped in a 6x6. You can see there's wear right here. You can see there is wear on the actual grip. Next, we have the hand-blown tequila shot glasses, artist signed, textured, multicolored, 2 3/4 inches tall. This sold for $62.99 plus shipping, and it did take about 10 months to sell. You can see it's a set of 6 glasses, and they have a little bit of like wavering texture or hammered texture. Sort of looks like typical of like Fire and Light. I don't think they're Fire and Light, but you know, typically you see these type of textures on Fire and Light glasses. And I could not make out the signature, but it was like 91, I believe, the year. So it's like J-I-M, Jim maybe? I don't know. If you guys know, leave it in the comments below what you think the signature is. Also, if you want to know how I ship these items, fragile items, I have a video. You can go ahead and click it on top, or I'll link it in the description below. Now, this is the Chuck E. Cheese Vintage Pizza Time Theater Stein Jasper T. Giles Pasquale mug. This took about 1 year and 3 months to sell, and it sold for, I took an offer on it for $95. Now, I remember going to Chuck E. Cheese a couple of times. I don't know, I wasn't really a big fan of Chuck E. Cheese. Actually, is Chuck E. Cheese still around, or did they all go defunct? I saw one near my area, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago. You know what? Leave it in the comments below. Is there a Chuck E. Cheese still available in your area? You can see it's made in Japan. This is the Coalport Wedgwood Countrywear Dinner Plate Cabbage Leaf White England set of 4 plates. This took about 2 weeks to sell, and it did sell for the full price of $349.99. If you can find these plates right now, they're very hot. I saw a lot of listings on this plate, and they're going for about $200-300 for a set of 4 plates, dinner plates. So they're very popular right now for some reason, and it has some light scratches and scuffs from use. This is in very good condition. Sometimes it's hard to really show like the surface of the glass because of the reflections. So I did put in the description below that it does have some light scratches and scuffs. I try to show it right here. But again, it's very hard to get the camera to focus on the scratches and scuffs. You have to focus in manually. And still it's very difficult. So this is a complete in-box Polaroid SX 70 land camera accessory kit, and this took about 3 months to sell, and it did sell for $76.49. I don't know who's taking photos with their film Polaroid camera. Everything's digital these days, but you can see that somebody's taking photos with the film cameras. Next we have the vintage 1979 Cooking with Jazz Leo Meyersdorf framed print. This took about 3 months to sell, and it did sell for $63.99. The glass is very fragile, very thin. If you want to know how I ship this item or package this item, go ahead and you can see in the description below. I have a packing video. Go ahead and check that out. These are like Nielsen frames. Very typical of the 80s, 90s. You can see there's a little bit of scuff mark right here. This is a 10.5 by 14 or 15 inches, about 2 pounds. This is the vintage bronze standing horse figurine pot metal cast. As soon as I listed it, I got an offer, and I just decided to take the offer for $130. I don't know why it went for that high. But I guess it's a special figure or something, because there are a lot of horses like very similar to this, but the base was what I compared it to, because the base was very distinct. There were not many that sold, or actually I could not find any other solds with this base except for that one that was on Worth Point. The person who listed it or sold it probably knew more about it. The name was like Daily or something like that. Well, anyway, if anybody knows why this is a special sculpture, let me know in the comments below, because most of the figurines or like the sculptures like this size typically goes for about like $40, unless you have something tied into like with everything, like a name or something like that, or a brand. But again, like I could not find it. Maybe it's because it rubbed off, or like it's old, because I believe this is probably close or an antique. I don't think it's vintage, but I could be wrong. It's cast. Anyway, if anybody knows more about this item, leave it in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. This is the Waterford Crystal Seahorse double old-fashioned glass, 3.5 inches tall. This is in very good condition. This took about a year to sell, and it was at a 30% off sale and sold for $97.97 plus shipping. You can see the Waterford mark with the seahorse, and it's a very hefty or very nice feeling glass. This is the Oryx 6-watch winders for automatic watches, wood case, 15 modes LED, and this was basically brand new. It was just open box, and it is a pretty nice one. Most of the time when you go sourcing and stuff like that, the key is missing, but this had its key, all the accessories. So I was planning on really keeping this item, but for some reason I thought I took it out of the listing. Apparently I didn't take it out. I was basically thinking like I'm gonna get the amount that I asked for, or like I'm not gonna sell it. I'm just gonna keep it because I'm gonna try to source more like timepieces or like custom jewelry, things like that, and I might need this type of item for winding, watches. I put it on a sale with the rest of the items, and it sold for $160 plus 99 cents. Not what I wanted to get. I was basically planning on keeping it if I didn't sell it for like the full price, but it was my mistake. So this is a chocolate mint pie plate, vintage ice cream recipe, Royal China, USA, 1983. This item sold on a 30% discount for $69.99. It did take about 8 months to sell. This Royal China right here, this pie plate, those are good bolo items. It's 11 inches wide, about 2.5 pounds. Now this is a Star Liana York pewter sculpture, gallo, whimsical fairy signed art, dated 1992. This sold for $41.99. It took about 7 months to sell. You can see it's signed right here. And I sold some of these pieces before, and they go for a decent amount of money, around $40-50. Not a major bolo, but still a decent item if you can find it. So those are the high dollar items that I sold for the month of June. If you like this video, go ahead and press the like button and subscribe if you can. And I'll see you guys next time.